In the sleepy town of Willow Creek, nestled deep in the heart of the forest, tales of the Rake had begun as mere whispers. Stories exchanged among friends around campfires and hushed discussions on rainy afternoons. The creature was said to be a gaunt figure with elongated limbs, possessing eyes that glinted in the dark like fragments of shattered glass, and teeth that looked like they had been sharpened to points over the years. It was a nocturnal hunter, prowling the edges of dreams and realities, always watching, always waiting. The legend spoke of its origins, supposedly the result of a tragic accident, a desperate man who had stumbled too far into the woods and was never seen again. It was said that the Rake would emerge to prey on the fear of the living, feeding off their nightmares and desperation. Over the years, more had gone missing, disappearing into the woods never to return, their last known whereabouts marked only by fading memories and unanswered questions. 17-year-old Mia Thompson had grown up hearing these tales, but they were merely that to her, tales. She was a skeptic, a lover of logic and reason. She had long since dismissed the Rake as a figment of imagination concocted to scare children into behaving. But her resolve would soon be tested. One crisp autumn night, Mia and her friends decided to venture into the woods. It was Halloween, a perfect night for a Halloween party, but the group wanted to do something different. They wanted adventure, a haunting to get their hearts racing. Armed with flashlights, snacks, and plenty of spirit, they hiked deep into the woods, laughter ringing out into the stillness. As the moon hung high, its silver light barely penetrating the dense canopy above, they found a small clearing, an ancient tree standing sentinel, its gnarled branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. They decided it would be the perfect spot to camp for the night. As they gathered around, Mia recounted the stories of the Rake, the shadows dancing on the trees as her friends listened, half amused and half terrified. "It's just a story, a ploy to keep kids from wandering too far," she insisted, though deep down, unease began to settle in her stomach. Hours passed, and their earlier cheer faded into quiet. The forest was alive with sounds, crickets, distant owls, but something felt off. It was an oppressive silence that seemed to cloak the clearing, prickling at their skin and wrapping around them like fog. After a while, the group decided to turn in, the thrill of adventure replaced by an overwhelming exhaustion. Mia nestled into her sleeping bag, her laughter echoing back in her mind. Just as she began to drift off, a sound jolted her awake, a low rustling, almost too faint to be real. She sat up, peering into the darkness. Her friends were scattered around her, already lost to sleep. But the noise persisted, growing closer, steady like a heartbeat. She shook her friend Emma awake, her voice just a whisper, "Did you hear that?" Emma blinked, squinting into the blackness. "Hear what?" Mia pointed toward the canopy, her heart racing. "The rustling, it's right outside." Slowly, the night air thickened, a heavy quiet swallowing the sounds of the woods, and then came a chill, cold, biting. She shivered and huddled deeper into her bag, questioning her own fears, trying to rationalize the noise. But then they heard it again, distinct, knocking, like something tall and thin was brushing against the trees. "Mia, stop it. You're freaking me out," Emma said, trying to brush it off. But she couldn't deny the tension in the air, the way the darkness loomed just out of sight. The rustling turned into a series of scrapes, a slow, deliberate sound dragging across the forest floor. Panic set in. Mia felt rooted to the spot, her breath quickening. She turned to wake the others, but when she glanced over, her breath hitched. In the shadows, something emerged, the unmistakable outline of a figure, tall and emaciated, skin stretched tight over brittle bones. Its head tilted at an unnatural angle, and its eyes glowed faintly in the dark, fierce and hungry. It was the Rake. "Mia!" Emma shrieked, her face pale as she met the creature's gaze. "What is that?" Adrenaline surged through Mia as she scrambled to her feet. "Run!" The group bolted from the clearing, their laughter forgotten, horror ripping through the night as they darted through the trees. The Rake was behind them, its movements swift, silent, a predator perfectly attuned to the thrill coursing through their veins. Each breath felt impossibly heavy. Branches lashed at their skin like angry whips as they dashed deeper into the woods, desperately searching for a way out. Finally bursting onto a narrow path, they didn't stop running until they reached the edge of the forest, a safe distance. They turned, panting, glancing back, expecting the creature to follow. But the night lay silent, the once oppressive shadows now merely trees in the moonlight. They never spoke of that night again, their minds too fractured to reconcile what they had experienced. Mia felt the shadows of the woods calling in her dreams, echoing with a voice full of hunger, whispering promises of darkness. In time, life resumed in Willow Creek, but the Rake's legend grew, used not just to scare children, but to remind everyone that some tales hold truth, and the darkness of the woods is not meant to be trifled with. The woods still stood, quiet witnesses, waiting patiently for the next group of adventurous souls to wander too far, coaxed by curiosity toward the whispers of an ancient, predatory chill.